We brought you in here today, Dave, to talk.
I was wondering, because I was brought in here in the back of a car and I wasn't sure what you had in mind.
Well, your assignment today is to help us demystify social media, because I am finding that I talk to fellow professionals and my clients all the time about what's effective, what's not. So let me start by asking you, do you use social media?
At the expense of doing anything else, Mary Pat. It's sad. It's such a productivity killer. I do use social media. I've used it for a long time, and kidding aside, I think what I have found is it is both an excellent professional tool in terms of networking, in terms of connecting with potential clients and colleagues. And on the personal side, of course, it can be very fun, and you know, in many ways it's an opportunity to stay in touch with people, either personally or professionally, that you would otherwise, you know, drift away from over time.
Now, I think it's really important what you said about personal and professional. I think that's the part that people struggle with, making a distinction between those two. Can you tell us how to best manage the boundaries between personal and professional?
You hit it right on the target. That is the key, I think, in this day and age when there are so much functionality and so many different options in terms of social networking. Keeping a very clear line of delineation between your personal network and your professional network as it relates to these sites. It's the most important thing, for sure.
In terms of creating those boundaries, what about privacy settings? What can you tell us about the best way to use those?
Well, there are two things. One is privacy settings are absolutely key, but really the most foolproof and best way is to really segregate and segment your social networking between personal and professional. So as an example, LinkedIn is one of the earliest, in my view, one of the best professional networking social media sites that exists. There are privacy settings there, but because the fundamental experience is a resume, it's far easier to manage. And so in my practice, LinkedIn is something that I use frequently, and I take advantage of a lot of those key pieces of functionality that LinkedIn delivers, whereas Facebook I do and use almost exclusively in the personal realm. And so for me, the experience of Facebook is for personal friends, LinkedIn is for my professional network, is probably the clearest and best way to really manage those issues.
Now, you mentioned LinkedIn, and I do have a couple of questions. I actually prepared for this interview.
You did?
Yes, I did. And I did.
I'm honored.
I
wish I could say the same, honestly.
Stop.
I'd love to say that.
I did a poll on LinkedIn, and I asked people, you know, if they could define a success story.
Sure.
And I overwhelmingly got a response that said, you know, they did reconnect with people that they hadn't seen in a long time, but no real success stories. Have you had success with LinkedIn, and can you tell us what that looks like?
I have. I've actually had a number of successes with LinkedIn, but I get the same question a lot because I was an early adopter for LinkedIn, and so when I was inviting people, I got a lot of the questions about why would I use this, what's its value. The quick answer I give is simply having a frequently updated Rolodex of your contacts is a value in and of itself. How many times have you run into somebody at the health club or at lunch, somewhere you didn't expect, and they are 3 jobs away from where you last knew them? Isn't there value in being able to see when people change jobs, seeing when they are promoted, seeing their contact information change should you have a need to get in touch? So for that reason alone, which is sort of right there, and I mean that's its core functionality, is an updated Rolodex, I think there's huge value that's often overlooked. Beyond that, there are key pieces, talking specifically of LinkedIn, that key pieces of functionality that work extremely well. I think the Q&A function, when you and I were talking a couple of months ago, I shared with you my story of when I was writing a book a year ago. I could have spent an entire summer working the phone, talking to contacts, trying to network to get interviews and research material for the book. I could have done that. What I tried instead was taking 15 minutes of my time, entering a question on LinkedIn's Q&A functionality, and in 15 minutes of thinking about what my research questions are, hitting send, it went out to somewhere north of 7 to 8 million people. Wow. And in about an hour, I had email responses from people all over the world. And in yet one more hour of following up on email, I had a summer's worth of interviews lined up for the book.
Fantastic.
So that is a specific success story of the power of social media, social networking, and its use in the workplace.
So it probably sounds like we need to sort of redefine success when it comes to something like LinkedIn, and also look at the functionality, which a lot of us, I think, haven't tapped into.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we all have day jobs.
Right.
So, it's important to put social media and social networking in its place, but in this day and age, the marketing potential, the communication potential, investing a little bit of time into some of these sites and using them appropriately, the ROI on that kind of activity, I think, is pretty extraordinary.
No, that's great. Dave, to sort of pull all this together, what if somebody walked off another planet and it said, I have no idea how to use social media?
If somebody walked off another planet, I would say social media obviously is the least of their concerns. Just breathing oxygen.
Stop.
Frankly. The thing that I would tell anybody who's new to social media and wanting to know the headline is LinkedIn is terrific. It's essentially your resume. So use LinkedIn. Even the basic functionality is really helpful, and cast a wide net. And actively seek out people to connect with in your professional life. Facebook and MySpace and things like that, they are fun. Keep it personal. Just keep it for friends and family and people that know you on a personal level. So if an embarrassing photo of you surfaces from college that a friend posted and everybody sees, you don't get fired or get, hazed by your coworkers.
Right. It's very, very good advice. So Dave, thank you. You've done a lot to demystify social media. We really appreciate it. If people want to get in touch with you and 11 Group, what do they need to do?
Very simple. Thank you for asking. The website is 11group.com. The email is david@11group.com. And 100-year-old technology, the simple telephone, also is still effective.
It still works.
It still works. And why ruin a good thing? 312-213-0269.
Great. Dave, thank you so much for
your
time today.
Thank you. Great to be here.